right, I am back to talk about the Metaverse. Every so often, I will go away from specific games to dabble in what I will deem is Metaverse skepticism. I am back from holiday break here, where I didn't take a break, but everybody else did. And now everyone is sending me their Metaverse pitch emails. Some are NFT based, some are just about Metaverse projects that are launching. And the Metaverse continues to be a buzzword for tech heading into 2022. And if you thought things were bad last year, I do not imagine that it's going to improve too much this year. The point I'm trying to make in this video is that the Metaverse does not exist. And all of these pitches I'm getting are for essentially nothing. Like startups that are trying to kind of either build or contribute to the Metaverse, and yet functionally there is no such thing as the Metaverse yet. And there does not really seem to be a path to get there because of the way it's being handled. I'm going to say there are three categories of things going on right now that are like Metaverse adjacent, and yet none of them add up to anything kind of remotely coherent about actually kind of realizing the concept of what people think of when they think of the Metaverse, which is the original term was in Snow Crash, this big shared online virtual space. Ready Player One is the more consumer-friendly version of it, and some of these are modeled after that. But the first group of these that keeps cropping up are what I will call just total Second Life knockoffs. Based on the blockchain, but Second Life knockoffs all the same. There are a number of these kind of just online digital communities that exist as essentially just social spaces, or they might have some mini games or whatever, but they are essentially sparsely populated. There are barely anyone actually in these. The prime example of this that I will cite is Decentraland. This is a Metaverse space that has gotten a ton of press, because they do things like sell virtual blockchain real estate to people for millions of dollars. Like someone bought a plot of virtual lands on their fashion district that for like $2.5 million or something. But like when you look at the reality of Decentraland, this is a space that has at most any given time like 2,000, 2,500 concurrent users. If you go to Steam, that puts it outside the top 300 games on Steam at any given time. And yet it is receiving outsized attention, as in it's like this next big thing. It has a valuation, allegedly like $6 billion based on all the like crypto assets and stuff jammed into there. But in reality, this is a ridiculously niche space that is played by a extremely, extremely small number of people, far less than any major or minor or medium existing game out there. And unless it sees some sort of crazy explosive growth, I don't understand how this is supposed to evolve in a meaningful way and be some sort of like actual thing other than speculative blockchain trading of assets in Decentraland or land or whatever. Like that's kind of what it exists for now. Even if you get the odd story of, this couple got married in Decentraland, and like things that, again, everyone was doing in Second Life 10, 20 years ago. Like it is, and that's like the biggest one, the one that everyone draws up. And there are just tons and tons of these other kind of smaller ones that are trying to do something similar, and yet they all look and function like worse versions of The Sims or Second Life from ages ago. The second category is I'm going to give Facebook its own category with its grand Metaverse ambitions and rebranding to Meta. Facebook's vision of the Metaverse is a lot different because it relies so heavily on virtual reality. Reportedly, Mark Zuckerberg is conducting a lot of meetings in VR now and asking his employees to do the same. Like instead of just Zoom, you're supposed to like log into the Meta Horizon workspace thing and talk to everyone in VR. Well, I agree that Facebook, out of everybody, has the money to build something large and substantial and obviously, potentially more populated than something like Decentraland. This idea that they're going to make this grand kind of Horizon Metaverse space in terms of the reality of what is actually there right now does not add up. And it seems eons away from anything that would be like a very attractive place to go and spend time. Right now we have these little just weird me-like avatars there that don't have legs. And they have their kind of Horizon Worlds area that launches, which has like mini games and social things. But like, again, it is its own little corner of the metaverse, not like the entire metaverse in and of itself. This is kind of the problem with all of these, is like you're developing the metaverse in these little pockets where it's like if there was like, 24 different internets that did not actually connect to each other. And none of these are really building bridges in any meaningful way between themselves. Like Facebook wants to essentially own the metaverse. Like that is what they are trying to do with their Horizon projects. And yet it's very hard to kind of imagine that happening, especially when they are so heavily leaning on VR as being the primary interface for this. I get that VR is like increasing in popularity to a certain extent. VR headsets sold very well this Christmas, and yet I think the idea of using VR as the primary mechanism to interact with a space like this is very wrong-headed and is going to slow down the potential growth of this for a long time. That said, I would not, my voice cracked there, I would not really enjoy, participating in these kind of Horizon-like spaces just on my screen with a controller or keyboard or whatever either. Like these are not compelling. I have not seen anything out of Facebook's Horizon stuff that looks remotely compelling as like a place that you would want to go and spend time. And maybe having, VR business meetings is vaguely more interesting than having a Zoom call. And yet I think that's pretty debatable. And like Facebook is starting with kind of the most utterly boring of use cases, and this evolving into anything that seems remotely interesting or compelling that you'd want to join it. I can't see it at this point. That does not seem to be the direction they're going in. They're just kind of a different version of Decentraland where there's not as much blockchain stuff and it's all in VR. The third category of this are things that I would describe as the most metaverse-like, or what we would traditionally view as, the metaverse that we kind of envision for the future. This is a series of games that kind of function and have functioned for a very long time as virtual worlds that players do want to log into and spend time in. There's a wide range of what you might consider like metaverse-like games. The big obvious kind of three are Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite. I think you can make the argument that in many ways that games like GTA Online are its own kind of sub metaverse space. Even Destiny, the ongoing 7-year project that Bungie has had players spend thousands of hours in, could be viewed as somewhat metaverse-like. When I think of like metaverse games, though, there is really nothing that comes up in my mind more than Fortnite. Fortnite is going kind of directly after the exact Ready Player One model of, okay, we've become a really huge game and we have done deals with every company and an IP holder in existence. So now we have a game where, you can have Batman fighting Spider-Man. You can have Ariana Grande and Travis Scott performing live concerts. You can have, Chun-Li and Master Chief and like just ridiculous combinations of IP characters kind of competing in either just battle royales or doing Fortnite creative things, or having these kind of big live events, whether that's the map blowing up or some famous artist pre-recording a mocapped concert or something. This to me feels the most like what I personally view as the metaverse, and it does not have anything to do with the blockchain or NFTs. Epic has said they are like potentially open to that in the future, and yet this current version, the way they've done it now, exists without that at all. It could still be very expensive if you buy all the Fortnite skins and things like that, but it's still, again, it is its own self-contained world. You are not taking, Fortnite is its own little self-contained world here where you're not taking your Fortnite skins and going to Roblox or going to Minecraft or going to Call of Duty or going to Facebook Meta or going to Decentraland. All of these are incredibly disconnected from each other. So the metaverse as a concept needs to be kind of one overarching thing like the internet. And all that's happening right now is we have a bunch of crypto-based startups that are mostly seem to be about making a quick buck and doing really dumb things like selling people real estate in a world that no more than 2,000 people are in at any given time. We have Facebook trying to literally own the universe and like own the next version of the internet with Meta but doing so in really goofy, uncompelling ways and leaning very heavily on VR tech, which has not seen anything close to full mainstream adoption. And then we have video games, which are video games, and most of them are pretty content just being video games and having very large player bases that make them very large amounts of money. Again, I can see Epic and Roblox potentially being the ones that kind of lead the charge into expanding their current ambitions to be more and more metaverse-like. That comes with its own slate of problems. But again, this is like not the metaverse I am being pitched every day it does not line up with Fortnite. Like no one is buying land in Fortnite. No one is issuing NFTs in Fortnite, thank God. But the point is like this vision of the metaverse does not exist and is not particularly close to existing given how it's being developed right now. My virtual worlds of choice I will continue to spend time in are persistently just the video games. I do not see a reason to meaningfully engage with these blockchain-based metaverses because the point of those, like if you say the point is social interaction, there are way more compelling places you can do that. Even in VR, VR chat's more compelling than hanging out with people in Decentraland. But if the main goal is to flip crypto real estate or invest in coins or mine coins and like pretty much just find mechanisms to make money either for you or the Decentraland itself is trying to raise its valuation to absurd degrees despite the fact that it barely has a player base. I have no idea what Facebook is going to turn out with its new metaverse ambitions. They might launch a non-VR metaverse project that is somehow more compelling than what we see now, but Zuckerberg has kind of just been all talk here, and everything he's proposed about like the future of the virtual world is so inescapably boring that I just don't see that catching on. Like Facebook itself is obviously not the most relevant thing on the internet these days, as big as it is, and yet I also, even if Zuckerberg does throw enough money at this to build something, like I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg to be like the guy running the metaverse, which is essentially what this would be like. Not that, Epic's Tim Sweeney would be the exact equivalent either, but a main point all these people are missing about the metaverse is like the whole point of Ready Player One was that the metaverse was like a free online space to interact, and is the bad guy in that story was the guy trying to come in there and sell a bunch of ads and like sell a bunch of things to consumers and charge people money for it and like get them to work in like debt prisons to like pay off their metaverse debts or Oasis debts. And like this is like what we're starting with at baseline, like before the metaverse even exists. That all the pitches are about like how you as the user or a company can like earn so much money in the the blockchain based metaverse. Like it's just it starts at that point, and I with that as a base instead of like just creating a interesting, compelling place for players to exist, that's not going to go anywhere. So 2022 predictions, we're going to see a ton of these stupid tiny Second Life knockoffs burn out and lose players. We are going to see Facebook throw bazillions of dollars at this, and I don't know what that will come up with. We will see existing games, I would say like Roblox and Fortnite, kind of make more moves in this direction to expand beyond what they currently are, and yet they're not going to connect to each other to kind of create this grand metaverse space. So it's going to be a weird year, and you're going to hear a lot of metaverse talk and a lot of NFT things, and I don't know how much is actually going to come of it. The internet forms, organically over a period of, decades from its origin points, that were military to begin with, whereas this is like a tech CEO being like, I am going to make the metaverse, and then a bunch of people trying to copy them, and none of these ideas really going anywhere so far. Again, this could change, but nothing I have seen from the first two groups especially indicates to me that we are on the verge of some big breakthrough here. And as it stands, like the metaverse does not exist. So anyway, those are my kind of current metaverse thoughts as we head into the new year here. I'm sure this will not be the last time I'm talking about this, but this is a topic I'm passionate about because like I have been following kind of the evolution of metaverse ideas for a long time, and Fortnite was one that stood out to me pretty early on as like something very much moving in that direction before all this other metaverse talk even started. But the way it's going now is like the concept is being killed before it's even going to get off the ground. Like metaverse itself has almost become like a joke, like a joke word. It's lost its meaning because that has nothing substantial to show for it. I will keep tracking all this, but it's been an annoying process so far, and I do not expect that to change. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.